Hi, I'm Rob Kellogg, and today we're going to talk about working around heavy equipment. Now, we as non-operators have to be very mindful of the capabilities and the potential hazards of working around these pieces of machinery, whatever they may be in the point where you're working. And not necessarily working with you, we have to be aware of it, but every piece of equipment that is in the proximate area, we kind of have to keep our heads up and swiveled to make sure that we don't become a road bump, which wouldn't be very good for your day. So with that said, if we are actually working with an equipment operator and he is actually functioning and doing a task and you're assisting in whatever fashion, we want to make sure that you always stay within visible sight of the operator while the operation is going on. So we don't want to hang out behind or beside the actual operator. And at all times when the excavation or any kind of material handling, moving of material, so to speak, we want to have an eyeball to eyeball contact at all times if we get within the reach of that potential equipment's activities. Now, if we're well outside the reach of the activities and potential, then it's not as necessary to do that. So be mindful of what the capability of that equipment is before you get within close distance. When you approach an operator, make sure you do it from the front, and that when you get that eyeball-to-eyeball contact, make sure you communicate your intent with the operator. If there's a question you need to ask them or communicate, have a discussion, make sure you get permission, visible, acceptable permissions to come into proximity of that operator. Don't just take a head nod or a look and assume that he sees you. That's not a good practice. As a heavy equipment operator, it was real important for me to make sure that everybody who worked around me with the shovels, rakes, and other accoutrements within the construction practices always knew that in order to approach me, I gave them a certain response, and whatever response it is that works best for you, that's fine, but you must set that up ahead of time in order for that to be effective. I've done a lot of training on heavy equipment operations and those working around with the labor forces, and it's very, very important for that communication to take place. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to an incident where a bucket has thrown somebody into the ditch after an excavation operations, or somebody got run over by backing operations. This is something that we need to be very, very aware of. It's happening all too often in our industry, and a lot of times it's just the carelessness of the operator workforce, not the operator themselves, that causes these issues. So never anticipate or expect an operator to perform a function. You must anticipate your distance safety at all times. That must be foremost on your thought process. So once you're able to work with that operator, you guys can get into your knowledgeable communication dance, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, woodchuck wave, whatever works, so long as you get that reciprocal that he identifies that you're there, you're good to go. Now, be very mindful of a lot of heavy equipment has blind spots. And even the small ones like the forklifts or your skid steers, once those arms start raising up and down, whether you're in your Class 7 forklift with the boom on the side or your Bobcats type skid steers, they have their arms that raise on either side of the cab. That can block the operator's vision. So that's why it's real important to come at those particular activities from the front. That way they see you from a distance. And again, that communication factor needs to be put in place. If you're working in an area where operations are going, you need to look at the intent of the operation first. What are these pieces of equipment doing? What is their activity? What's their task they're trying to accomplish? And then look at their paths that they're taking. A lot of times when excavation operations are going on and they're doing leveling and excavation of your elevation work, should I say, and prepping for either pad development or any other operation, we want to see that there is going to be a certain pattern of traffic, and you be very mindful of that. So if you're going into or passing over that traffic pattern, be very, very careful to watch when they're coming around that hill, that spoil pile, or around those buildings. A lot of times if you're getting too close to that intersection where there's a blind spot and the potential that both of you come into the same area at the same time, that can be highly hazardous. So my recommendation is wait for those pieces of equipment to pass by, wait that extra 10, 15 seconds, let them pass by, give them the right of way, and that way you don't get run over and squished like a grape. Okay, so be very mindful of the area that you're working in. Watch out the capabilities of those pieces of equipment that are around you, not just the ones you're working with, but everything else, and that way you'll stay safe. Make sure you maintain that contact, that out-of-box contact with your operators. If you have any questions or concerns, please give us a call here at Ultimate Group. And as always, safety is not a mindset, it's a state of mind. Thank you.